Hi, this is Michael Lasky. This is a training video on registering and hosting domain names with DreamHost. In our last video, we registered for our DreamHost account, and now I've logged in and I have a fully functioning hosting account with DreamHost. On the right-hand side of DreamHost, like most websites, there is a series of links or tools that we can use, and we can collapse these tools. If I click on Mail, I can collapse that toolbox. What we're going to focus on right now is domains. And I'm going to open that one up and I can see manage domains and registrations. Those are the only two we're going to focus on right now. First, let's just have a look at registrations, because when we set up hosting, we actually had registered a domain name. And we can see here is our domain name that we registered. This was our free domain name, 02cando.com. And I just want to bring your attention to this option over here. It says hosting and fully. It's already currently fully hosted. And so what that means is we need to register a domain name, and then we need to tell DreamHost that yes, we want to actually host a website at that domain name. And so under registrations is where we will purchase new domain names or manage our registrations. And under manage domains is where we'll set up hosting. So let's click through onto manage domains and have a look at that screen. So under the manage domains, because we set this up when we set up the hosting, it has been automatically hosted. And so we'll come back to that in just a second, okay? First, I want to register another domain name. The domain name I want to register is the first example sample that I want to create through these tutorials. So the domain name I know I want to purchase is 02surfing.com. This is giving me a warning saying please make sure you spelled this correctly, because they cannot make any changes. Now DreamHost has told me that 02surfing.com is available, but I want to make sure because this looks like an O, not a zero, but an O. And so let me just check on that. And perhaps I spelled that wrong. 02surfing.com. I'm going to check availability again. And it's now warning me again. That's definitely a zero here, right? All right, good thing I was paying attention. I would have bought myself Ode to Surfing, which sounds like an ode to surfing. But so now we have 02surfing.com. That's good news. Okay, so privacy and Whois. Whois is a database that tracks who is the owner of a domain name. Whois, it makes sense, right? And so you can actually select to show some privacy levels, and that's a feature some hosts actually charge extra for, but it's free with DreamHost. I always put privacy on there. If you're interested in having someone contact you because they might want to buy your domain name, if you may not put a website up or host a website at that domain name, you might want to put your name in here, because then they can do a Whois search and find your contact info and then email you and say, hey Mike, I'd really like to buy that domain name. Just something to keep in mind. I prefer the privacy, and so I'm going to scroll down here and click continue to move along with the purchase process. Now I have the option to choose to register domain names for 1 year or 2 or 3 years. I'm just going to do 1 year for now and click continue. Okay, so I was able to actually register that domain name without having to make a purchase through the domain panel. And that's actually a little bit of a surprise for me. Usually when I'm buying a domain name, I actually have to go ahead and enter in payment terms like a credit card or by PayPal. You can also pay with DreamHost credit. So under the DreamHost panel, there's a panel here called rewards, and you can get a link, an affiliate link, much like the one you used when you registered, and you can earn rewards, $97, or you can get sub referrals or 10% forever. And so when you build up some credit, you can actually pay with your balance. Okay, so let's go and look at our registrations because as we were told, it may take a few minutes before this registration shows up. And it says right now that it's pending. So I'm going to pause this video and come back when it is fully registered. All right, I've just received a notice at my Gmail account that Zero2 Surfing has been registered. So I'm going to go back to DreamHost, click on registrations. And we can see here that Zero2 Surfing indeed is registered. Okay, so now I want to draw your attention to, again, over on the right hand side, there's hosting, and it says fully and add. So now I need to add hosting to that domain name if I intend to put a website at that domain name, which I do intend to put a website at that domain name. So I can do that one of two ways. I can click on this add right here link, or I can go to the manage domains section under domains and then say add new domain. I can click on that link, and I can also click on add hosting over here under this section here that says registered domain names without hosting currently. So I'm going to click on this one here, add hosting. Okay, so now I'm in this fully hosted or this managed domain screen. You can see the domain that I'm about to add hosting to. And there's a little option here that we want to address. We can say add www and to this non-www version. We can say remove the www and make it always the non-www version. And I like to say leave it alone. I like both of them to work. It's a subject to debate what's the best way to go. It's really up to you. I suggest doing the leave it alone. Both will work. Okay, so about the domain and the users, nothing to worry about here. Under the web directory, nothing to worry about here. You could put a subdirectory like htdocs is common, or public HTML is common, but unless you really know what you're doing, just leave it the way it is. And under web options, leave everything the way it is. And under Gmail, leave everything unchecked. And then there's going to be some other options below where you can say Google hosted or redirect or mirrored or parked or cloaked or DNS settings. And those are features for another training program. And this one training session is just about fully hosting a domain. And so we want to come under these Google apps and click on fully host this domain. All right, so now DreamHost has told us that they've had success. They've fully hosted this domain, and it does take a few minutes or up to a few hours for the domain to start working. Now that just means if we want to visit that site to see what's going on at this domain name. So I can command click or right click, open in a new tab so I can check out what's happening at that site. I'm going to do both of these. So I'm going to right click, open in a new tab. For both of our domains that we've set up, and this is what it's showing me right now. Right now there is nothing happening at this domain name 02cando.com, and it looks like the same thing is going to happen with Zero2 Surfing. It can take up to several hours for these domains to what's called propagate, or just be distributed around the whole world for the whole world to be able to see all the same information at each site. So I'm going to pause this video and check back on these in 15 minutes. Okay, so I just go to Zero2 Surfing up in the domain and I refresh that, or just simply hit return while I'm have it selected up there. And now it says DreamHost Zero2 Surfing coming soon, rather than saying problem loading page or the server could not find the page. Let's see if this domain is actually working now as well. Okay, so for whatever reason that domain is taking a little bit longer to set up, but this is the screen you can expect to see if and when DreamHost has your domain name ready to have a website installed into it. And that concludes the training session for domain name registration and domain name hosting. I'm Michael Lasky. Thanks so much for watching.